24 movies, but only one can be crowned the worst one. Today I will be sharing with you my experience with the 15th Pokémon movie, titled Kyurem vs. the Sword of Justice, and why I consider it to be the worst Pokémon movie. Let us begin. The film was released in July 2012 as the second edition of movies set during Ash's Unova adventure, so Gen 5. We have alongside the protagonist probably the most forgettable pairing, Iris and Cylon. It also isn't helped that Gen 5 is considered by me and probably many others the weakest point in the series, first because of it being a quote-unquote soft reboot. The series' first episode stating that Ash was only 10 years old even after years of adventures.
10-year-old Ash Ketchum.
A big upset in the fandom, following it up by the fact that Ash has managed to put together his objectively worst team. And a little nitpick of mine, I don't like his outfit or the way he's drawn and colored. He looks fan-made in a sort of way, if you guys understand what I mean. Janky, as if he were drawn with colored markers. Now, with all that in mind, I still went into this movie with an open mind. Such a fool. The film starts with presenting us the Swords of Justice, a group made of 3 Pokemon, Vrakian, Verizon, and their leader, Cobalion, who protect the Pokemon of the forest, with a newly acquired member in training. Also the main star of the film, Keldeo. They also all have a sword on their forehead. Goddamn unicorn ripoffs. They attack using telepathy or some forbidden Maijutsu tactics. Fortunately, must add, otherwise it would have been pretty boring. The 15-minute cold open shows us the trio training the young lad, with the purpose of him learning the true weight of his sword, and, by doing so, unlocking its full ability. At the moment, it only has an above average horn. He needs to learn that in order to be strong enough to battle Kyurem, defeating the legendary Pokemon being the last test in becoming a member of the Swords of Justice. Cobalion tells Keldeo that he needs to train more in order to be prepared for the wrath of Kyurem, but the young and naive walking narwhal does not understand the weight of the leader's words, so he goes to fight it without announcing the others. Upon arriving at the abandoned mine, which Kyurem uses as shelter, he challenges the powerful being to a battle, lying to it by saying that he's ready because he already is a Swords of Justice, which raises a question. Isn't Kyurem in on the fact that he's the last challenge for Pokemon to become a Swords of Justice? Did the other 3 just not tell it? The way they're making Kyurem sound in this movie is like he's really powerful. He's the strongest dragon-type Pokemon in the world, because he possesses the ability to switch between a black form and a white form without starting a racial war. The black form grants it the powers of Zekrom, and the white form grants it the powers of Reshiram. For it to be the final challenge, it must know that, so it would hold back. Otherwise, the other 3 Swords of Justice would be Pokemon gods by managing to defeat Kyurem at its full power. Like, it doesn't make sense. But okay, moving on. Keldeo passes through an ice gate, meaning the start of the battle. He proceeds to get its ass kicked by the time the trio realizes it's gone, and finds it with the help of an awesome CGI shot. The mighty legendary also breaks the lad's horn. Very sad. When they try to intervene, Kyurem freezes them. What a nice lad. And goes after Keldeo, who falls off the mountain cliff into the movie's opening credits. A very engaging opening sequence, not gonna lie. We follow that up with a quick introduction of Ash and the gang as they are on their way to Roshan City. But they stop for a moment at Windy Station, where they grab 15 Darumaka lunchboxes. Why? Well, Cylon apparently is a boxed lunch connoisseur, so it's understandable. Upon boarding the train, Pikachu notices Safik has landed atop one of the wagons. They are shocked by Keldeo's surprisingly coherent English dialect, but before they have time to edit, the mighty Kyurem appears and they barely manage to escape it. In Roshan City, they take the young and injured trainee to a Pokemon Center, where they also get filled on information regarding Kyurem and the Swords of Justice. After Keldeo gets nursed back to strength, the gang promises to help him in his journey of saving his mentors. But first, lunch, which features a scene that I'm very nitpicky about because it just feels so forced. Ash and Keldeo both eat really fast and end up choking on their food. Iris makes a remark along the lines of, "You two, what a couple of kids." She's always teasing Ash by saying he acts like a kid. And introducing a scene like that, like out of nowhere, where Keldeo is acting like Ash, so that we'd have Iris say a cliche line for her character that also tries to forcibly make the audience take a liking to Keldeo because he's similar to our main character, feels so fucking forced. It annoys me so much. Rant over. Kyurem and his Cryogonal grunts arrive in the city and chase the gang until they manage to escape in a tunnel, which leads to an underground train museum. Iris throws herself out as bait, and then Cylon follows in her footsteps, allowing Ash and Keldeo to climb the mountain freely. On the mountain climb, Keldeo uses the power of flashbacks to finally grasp the ideas its mentors taught it and understand the true weight of its sword, just in time to face Kyurem when they arrive at the mine. The battle causes an explosion that makes the ice break and freeze the Swords of Justice. Keldeo starts kicking Kyurem's ass, even learning the move Secret Sword, which prompted the erection of his blade and the prowess of his mentors. During a head-to-head of powerballs, one of them gets deflected and starts heading towards our main characters. Keldeo manages to jump in front of it and tank it, doing so showing true courage and heroism, respected by Kyurem, who forfeits in front of Keldeo and grants it the win. The movie ends with our young trainee finally achieving his goal of becoming a Sword of Justice. After watching this movie, I took a detox break with some great television, and now I'm finally ready to lay out my frustrations. But first, the positives. As with most pieces of Pokemon media, the animation is immaculate, the battle and chase scenes felt very fluent and were entertaining to watch. There were a couple of CGI shots sprinkled throughout the movie that blended in perfectly. Ocean City looked marvelous, the explanatory shots with Joy introduced our protagonists to the Swords of Justice were phenomenal. It looks like something out of Wallpaper Engine. Plus all the Kragon and grunts which moved in perfect synchronization, and also Kyurem. It looked so menacing. I can appreciate the story for what it is, an initiatory story for the young trainee who wants to prove himself worthy, but his childish naivety and ignorance get in his way and cause trouble which affects his mentors, and now he has to prove himself by saving them, and because of their lessons along the way he manages to understand what his journey actually is and how to unlock his full potential. A pretty cliche story nonetheless, but it's through the lens of a Pokemon movie, which is aimed at kids, and not a 19-year-old YouTuber rapper like myself. But enough sweet talk. Let me put into use my unfathomable yapping skills and tear this movie apart. Let's talk about the parts I didn't like. Continuing to build on the previously established theory that Kyurem is in on the whole final test to become Swords of Justice thingy, why did he continue to fight Keldeo even after freezing the swords and knocking the young land off the mountain? At that point it wasn't even a fight anymore. Kyurem was hunting Keldeo. Did he want to kill Keldeo to finalize the fight and win? It was clear that Keldeo had lost and the fight was over, so why? If it were in on the whole shtick, then it would have stopped. Or was Kyurem like one of those actors that stayed in character all the time on set, even after the camera stopped rolling? Like, make it make sense. The beginning of the movie was strong, a very good cold open, laying everything we need to know, the finale as well, the payoff for our hero's journey, but the middle part, well, we have a chase scene throughout the city, plus a double bait and some flashbacks. That felt very rushed and probably need to be like that. I mean, an hour and 11 minutes runtime, you can only put so much in that time for a movie. Another flaw is how the main trio was so sidelined. You didn't get a single Pokemon fight from Ash, Iris or Cylon. There was only one trainer battle between two kids in the background of a scene and that's it. The only use I can remember from Ash's Pokemon was him skating on ice on Boulder, which like, I even forgot he had a boulder, that's how forgettable this region is. And when Pig Knight tried to unfreeze the Swords of Justice, but to no use. Which makes me question, was that just ice, or what the hell did Kyurem shoot at the Swords of Justice? Iris' only role was to explain how strong Kyurem was through the words of her grandma, by showing us a flashback of her telling Iris, when she was a little, that Kyurem is the strongest dragon Pokemon, and Cylon was a box launch connoisseur. That's about it. I understand if you want to put the Giratina movie, or the Hoopa one, or even I Choose You, because you know fuck with the rushed reenactment of the show's first season in an alternate timeline, as the worst movie. But personally, I have to stick with Kyurem vs. the Sword of Justice, because that 50-minute opening was actually good. That's the problem. It was the best part of the movie, it went downhill from then, apart from the ending, and it gave me hope. And as the good old saying goes, it's the hope that kills you. I should know. Yeah. Editor's note here. I'm sorry if I sounded a bit off or looked a bit off during the video. It's just that I was running on just a couple of hours of sleep. I barely slept that night. I had just woken up. I was dealing with a harsh cold that lasted over a week. Thankfully, they were the last symptoms. Hopefully. And yeah, my nose is still a little bit fucked. I promise, from the cold, not the special flower. And yeah, I'm back. So again, apologies, I sounded a bit weird on the video. Man, I always catch colds during the summer. It was in fact the third cold I caught this summer. I think I might be dying. That's everything for today. If you want to share your thoughts about this and tell me what you consider to be the worst Pokemon movie, then leave me a comment below. I'd be happy to read it. Have a great day, guys. Stay safe. Bye.